Welcome back. People are struggling to find the light in these dark times. Rolling blackouts are having a detrimental effect on mental health.
That's right. It's increasing anxiety and depression levels within the country. And that's according to the latest survey by the SA Depression and Anxiety Group, SADAG.
Of course, participants reported feeling hopeless, frustrated, less secure, and have a lack of control. So let's discuss this now with clinical psychologist Dr. Portia Monnapula-Mazabane. A very good morning to you, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us. You know what? I'm going to personalize this and say that this literally just happened to somebody that I know who's very close to me this week alone. Load shedding at midnight on a 2-hour schedule, and right at midnight, the complex gets broken into, their apartment gets broken into, and I don't want to even bother saying what happened after that, but literally that's where we're at now, where you've got our criminals who understand the schedules in the certain areas that they are essentially attacking, and now people are sitting there like sitting ducks, and they're vulnerable and they don't know when they're going to be next. I mean, who's going to help us? How do we get out of a situation like this?
Thank you for that question, Morena, and it's interesting that you mentioned these points. Unfortunately, part of what we have been seeing with the rise of anxiety, frustration, hopelessness, and all these participating factors leading to that, you find that with these power cuts comes the disruption of the stability. You know, for us as human beings to be functional, we have to have mastery over our day-to-day functioning. We have to have mastery over our time and over our schedule on daily basis. And unfortunately for us, these power cuts, which come today, it's stage 6, tomorrow it is stage whatever, who knows what, they tend to disrupt the very same thing that we rely on for mental health stability. And I'm not even surprised about the survey that was made, the recent survey that was conducted by the SADAG, because with that survey, it showed that a lot of people, I mean, we're talking about people who at times probably did not even have the history of mental health related issues here. We tend to find that there's a lot of road rage. I can imagine yesterday I was driving from work at night, and suddenly it's so dark and dense. You can imagine how that makes an adult feels. What more about the kids? We know that a lot of kids out there, they are so terrified of darkness. You would see how much they clinch towards an adult when it starts getting dark. And even the situations at home, it gets so terrifying, because when we are frustrated as adults, kids also, they mimic that. They see that, you know, the environment is stressful, and as a result, they themselves have got difficulty coping. What about the businesses, people that are in business? Imagine the anticipated anxiety that it causes. Because if my business is opening for 8 hours and power cuts are 6 hours, I've got a rent to pay, I've got bills to pay, but things that are so important that I'm reliant on besides business related, the ones that you find that I've got bills to pay with my kids going to school and everything. You can imagine the impact that it has.
Doc, if I may also just come in there, you mentioned something so important about, you know, when darkness hits. And of course, there's an element of, you know, safety, feeling safe. The kids not feeling as safe, you know, the mother not feeling as safe because of the violent and criminal reality we live in South Africa. But also, on another lens, Doc, when you see darkness, the sense of sadness and hopelessness to say, is this where we are? And that tends to affect one's mental health. Because this is our reality, we're seeing stages of up to stage 6. How would you advise South Africans to cope? Because we need coping mechanisms. It doesn't seem that this is going to end tomorrow. This will be a way of life for quite some time. How would you advise South Africans, families, communities to cope with the sense of sadness, somberness, and just hopelessness that we see that is represented by this darkness?
You know, I'm a firm believer that as South Africans, we are so resilient. I mean, we've faced polycrisis. One of the issues that we have faced was your COVID. We're still battling with COVID-related issues. We battled with what you call the July unrest. We battled with a number of things, and during that time, we found the strength within ourselves, to learn to cope. There was so much of unity within us. So I would advise South Africans out there that, be expressive about how you are feeling. Talking to someone that, I'm so frustrated, I don't seem to be coping. You may learn and lean towards their coping mechanism and even exchange ideas with them. It makes such a huge difference, other than allowing yourself to have all these things overwhelm you, because that tends to be one of the issues that may lead to mental health related challenges. Also, to navigate and work your time around when we don't have load shedding, like plan, especially for people that are at work who are still hybrid or online, and kids that are at school. Try and assisting them that, when we have light, during the day and all that, rather we schedule our work. That gives you that sense of control, and at least it becomes so much better because you are able to navigate your time and all that. But during power cuts, people should also learn to say, I don't have TV, I can't entertain myself, I can't even play a radio. Why don't I take a walk? It is proven scientifically that exercising and being outdoors, if it's safe and during the day, has got positive impacts on one's mental health.
I am definitely jotting this bit of advice down, these notes down, because we are at a point where we've been struggling for the last, what has it been, 3 years now? Because we had to deal with mental health issues during COVID-19, and something we were never used to now dealing with stage 6 blackouts. So I'm definitely jotting this down, because we're going to need this. As Tumelo was saying, this is not going to end tomorrow. This is going to be a way of life for a very long time. But Doc, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for imparting that wisdom and just sharing it with that person that is sitting at home at the moment, who does, fortunately for them at this particular period in time, has just come out of maybe a 6 to 8 load shedding period. They are watching and they're wanting to find out, what can I do because I am suffering? So of course, that is clinical psychologist Dr. Portia Monnapula-Mazabane just sharing with us just what can we do? What can we do at a time when it seems as though, the electricity minister, Dr. Ramokgopa, is struggling to really change the situation that we find ourselves in as we are battling with stage 6.